whatever, my Hindi being what it is. Yeah, you are a professor, you can correct somebody's English, you can correct my Hindi, but your political philosophy, I will have to remind you, may not be correct. Sir, Honorable Member चिट्ठी लिखे हैं, लिखी है, लिखा है, I don't mind. आप समझ रहे हो बात. मेरा हिंदी का मजाक मैं उड़ा रही हूँ जी, क्योंकि मैं ये ऐसे स्टेट से आ रही हूँ. भाई साहब, आप उसके पक्ष में बैठे हो ना, आप जरूर पूछिए. मैं ऐसे स्टेट से आ रही हूँ जहां हिंदी पढ़ना गुनाह लगता है, इसीलिए बचपन से हिंदी पढ़ने का मुझे रोका गया. उधर आपका झगड़ा रखो, मेरे से नहीं. झगड़ा आपका उनसे होना चाहिए जो हिंदी पढ़ने में आपत्ति बोलते हैं, आपत्ति मानते हैं हिंदी, उनसे झगड़ा करो भाई, मेरे से क्या कर रहे हो. I didn't use any such a word. What is Lukka? What is Lukka? Who used it? Who used it? I have not used it at all. I am not a Hindi Bhashi either. I have not used it, sir. So I am indeed grateful to all the members. I think about 28 of them have spoken, subject to correction if there is any number change. As much as possible, I've been physically here to hear them, and I'll take more of my time to respond to each of their comments rather than get into the details of the amendments which the bill is bringing in. I think even in my opening statement, I have explained the details of what the amendments are aimed at and how many amendments they are, and also as to why these many amendments are coming through in one go. And I will certainly elaborate a bit more to explain to Honorable Member N.K. Premchandran, who normally gets into a lot of details about the parliamentary process, proceedings and so on. So I ardently listen to him, this bill or otherwise too. But in this case, I'll certainly give the details to explain why his apprehensions are not well founded. His apprehensions are, I would think, apprehensions only, because I can explain as to why they are not well founded. I would, as much as possible, try to go in the same order in which most of the MPs have spoken. But broadly, I want to say there has been a lot of general comments about, India's banking system, or the solutions that you've offered. Maybe the banks are doing all right, but then you have NPAs. So there is a lot of, what I may be allowed to say, mixing of political details into what the reality of Indian banks is. Let me take a sense of confidence with which I would want to say, I'm indeed very happy that India and its banking system is where it is today. Being part of this government or as a citizen of this country, I would appeal to all honorable members through you, Speaker Sir, to just look at the world around us. Where are their banking systems? Many countries have lost their banks. Many of them have really collapsed. And we would think in countries where the regulatory mechanisms are very sound, in such countries too, banks have failed and failed miserably. And overnight, in fact, I can even quote the case, overnight, over a weekend, the government had to burn the midnight oil and give some kind of a salvaging package that Monday morning there was no run-in into the bank. That was the situation just 1.5, 2 years ago, and in a very developed country. All of us would have read it in the papers. If that was the case about one bank in one western corner of that country, which was very much prominent because of the closeness to Silicon Valley, overnight they had to flush in money to say, no, run in, please, we'll take care of saving the bank. I heard a lot of voice which said, why this happened for Yes Bank and not for PMC? If only honorable members go into the details of what is the nature of bank we are talking about. Can the treatment be similarly given? So, India's banking sector, irrespective of politics, is critical to this nation. We can't afford to have any one of our banks struggling or on the crevice that they may fall off. I must credit the RBI and the Ministry of Finance, not because I'm there, but truly. Since 2014, we have been extremely cautious that banks remain stable. And you know the state of affairs when in 2014, Prime Minister Modi had come. My learned friend Sambit Patra and many others also spoke about the 4 Rs with which we tried resolving the crisis in the banks. So the intention is to keep our banks safe, stable, healthy, and in the 10 years, you're seeing the outcome, and it is benefiting the economy. So I would appeal through the honorable members that India should take pride in the fact that today the banks are up to a lot of good, and they are being professionally managed. They are absolutely professionally managed, and I couldn't just recollect the name of the honorable member who said, what is your attitude about recapitalization of banks? I'm proud to say today, banks don't come to the government to say, recapitalize me. Because today they are professionally run, the metrics are healthy, they can go to the market and raise loans, raise bonds, and run their business accordingly. That relationship of government and the bank as my BAP, I can go to the ministry and take money and run my bank despite all the negatives, no longer prevails. We don't entertain such things because banks don't need to be entertained for it. They are professionally run today. And therefore, I would want, honestly, all of us to take immense pride in this. It's a national achievement. And as a result, today, the regional rural banks, I've done about 8 or 9 reviews personally, not sitting in Delhi, going to each of the states, each of the zones. RRBs, there was also concern. Nationalization achieved, and nationalization was done because we wanted to have more branches, more banks going into the rural areas, include people in our RRBs are doing the very same thing. And I'm proud to say today they are mobile banking facilitated, they are internet banking facilitated, they are healthy in their deposit. The sponsor banks are doing so much to keep them absolutely active and on the toes. They are available in Arunachal Pradesh, they are available in Assam, they are available in Dur Daraz Ilaka of Rajasthan. And as a result today, that very valid question that I don't know if it was Member Supriya Sule who asked about NBFCs and the banks having that, NBFCs are giving away their duty and passing it on to NBFCs. NBFCs are raising the rate at which they're extending loans. There can be problems there. But NBFCs gave that advantage of going the last mile, which public sector banks at one stage did not have the methodology, but now they've come up with bank mitras with which they're providing all the banking facility. And using that as an argument, I want to answer several of the concerns which very many ministers, members of parliament raised. Nationalization was done because we wanted the branches to be available in rural areas. I'll tell you what the progress is. Between 14 and today, total branches of all public sector banks, total bank branches of all scheduled commercial banks have increased by 3,792 in a year to reach 1,65,501 in September 24. That many branches are there in India. Out of this, 85,116 branches are of public sector banks. They're also going to the rural areas or providing within 5 kilometers radius a touch point. It could be an ATM, it could be a bank mitra, it could be the brick and mortar branch, or it could be any other association.